Number 14, the Punji Stake Pit. This was the most classic and terrifying Viet Cong trap. It was a simple hole in the ground, but what was inside was pure evil. The pit was filled with sharpened bamboo stakes called Punji stakes. To make it worse, they often coated the tips in animal or human waste to ensure a nasty infection even if the wound didn't kill you. It's basically nature's version of a giant poisonous Lego piece. One step and your weekend plans are officially ruined. It didn't always kill, but it took a soldier off the field and terrified everyone else. A low-tech hole that defeated high-tech boots. Number 13, the Bouncing Betty. The M16 mine, or Bouncing Betty, was a nightmare for ground troops. It wasn't designed to explode in the ground, but to meet you at eye level. When triggered, a small charge would launch the mine about 3 feet into the air before the main explosion. It was designed to shred everything at waist height. It's like a deadly jack-in-the-box that nobody asked for. Surprise! It's shrapnel. It was a psychological weapon that made every step feel like a game of Russian roulette. You didn't just walk, you prayed with every stride. Number 12, the Bamboo Whip. If you thought the jungle was quiet, you clearly haven't met the Bamboo Whip. It was a spring-loaded trap hidden in the thick brush. A long bamboo pole was pulled back like a bow, covered in long spikes. When a soldier tripped the wire, the pole would swing across the path with enough force to impale anyone in its way. It's the jungle's way of giving you a very aggressive, very spiky high five. Spoiler, you won't want to high five back. Silent, simple, and incredibly deadly. It used the jungle's own materials to turn a peaceful walk into a scene from a horror movie. Number 11, the Mace Trap. This was like something out of the Middle Ages. A massive wooden or concrete ball covered in spikes, suspended high in the trees. When a tripwire was hit, the heavy mace would come crashing down or swinging through the air. The sheer weight and spikes were enough to crush a man instantly. It's like the world's worst disco ball. It definitely brings the house down, and probably your skull too. Gravity was the enemy's best friend. These traps required no gunpowder, just a clever hiding spot, and a very unfortunate victim. Number 10, the two-step snake. The Viet Cong didn't just use bamboo and steel, they used Mother Nature's most venomous predators. This was the two-step snake trap. Guerrilla fighters would tie venomous snakes like bamboo pit vipers inside hollow bamboo poles or ammunition boxes. When a soldier opened the box or walked past, the snake would strike at his face or neck. They called it the two-step snake because that's all the steps you'd get to take before the venom kicked in. Talk about a very unfriendly welcome party. It was pure psychological warfare. It made the soldiers fear everything. Even an empty box or a piece of bamboo could be hiding a scaly death. Number 9, the grenade in a can. This was a simple but lethal masterpiece of improvisation. All it took was 2 tin cans, 2 grenades, and a thin tripwire. The safety pins were removed from the grenades and they were stuffed inside the cans to keep the handles down. When a soldier hit the wire, the grenades were pulled out of the cans, and, well, you know the rest. It's like a deadly version of a Just Married car trail, but instead of tin cans making noise, they make you disappear. 0 stars on Yelp. It used the soldiers' own trash against them. The Viet Cong recycled empty ration cans into traps that turned a routine patrol into a disaster. Number 8, the side-closing trap. This was a variant of the Punji pit, but with a nasty twist. It didn't just hurt your foot, it crushed your entire leg. This trap consisted of 2 wooden boards filled with spikes, hidden under a thin layer of dirt. When a soldier's foot went into the hole, the weight triggered the boards to slam shut from both sides, impaling his leg. It's like a giant, angry wooden mouth that only eats US military boots. And it's not interested in a salad. The goal wasn't just to kill, but to create a wounded soldier that required 4 others to carry him, effectively slowing down the entire army. Number 7, the flag trap. The Viet Cong knew US soldiers loved capturing enemy flags as trophies, so they turned that patriotism into a deadly trigger. A grenade was hidden behind the flag or buried at its base, with a tripwire attached to the flagpole. The moment a soldier pulled the flag down to claim his prize, boom! It's the worst prize ever. You wanted a souvenir for your wall, but instead, you got a one-way ticket to the infirmary. This trap exploited the soldiers' emotions. It taught them a brutal lesson. In this jungle, Even a victory trophy could be a death sentence. Number 6. The Cartridge Trap. This was a tiny, invisible, and ingenious killer. It didn't use complicated wires, just a piece of bamboo and a single bullet. A bullet was placed inside a bamboo tube with a nail at the bottom. When a soldier stepped on it, the pressure forced the bullet onto the nail, firing it directly upward through his foot. It's like a deadly game of the floor is lava, but the floor is actually loaded with 7.62mm rounds. T was cheap, easy to hide, and impossible to detect with a metal detector since it was mostly wood. A single nail and a bullet could stop a whole platoon. Number 5. Entering a village hut was a routine task for U.S. soldiers, but the Viet Cong turned every doorway into a potential guillotine. A heavy wooden frame with long poison spikes was suspended above the door, triggered by a hidden wire. When the door opened, the frame would swing down like a pendulum. It's the jungle's version of a doorman, except instead of taking your bags, he tries to take your entire torso. This trap turned every building into a death trap. It made the soldiers feel like there was nowhere safe to hide, not even under a roof. Number 4. The Tiger Trap. This trap was as simple as gravity itself. A massive wooden frame filled with long, heavy spikes was suspended high up in the jungle canopy. Triggered by a tripwire, this 500-pound spiked board would come crashing down vertically. There was no swinging, no warning, just a sudden crushing weight from above. It's like a giant, angry hairbrush falling from the sky. Only this one doesn't fix your hair. It fixes your entire existence. Permanently. It used the soldier's weight and gravity as a weapon. It was a silent killer that turned the beautiful jungle ceiling into a falling guillotine. Number 3. The Venus Flytrap. Inspired by the carnivorous plant, this trap was designed to catch more than just a foot. It was a hole with 2 sets of overlapping, inward-pointing spikes. When a soldier's leg went in, the spikes would bend downward easily. But when he tried to pull his leg out, the spikes would dig deep into his flesh, locking him in place. It's the world's most painful hug. The more you struggle, the more it likes you. Talk about a clingy relationship. The Viet Cong knew that a trapped soldier was more useful than a dead one. It forced the entire squad to stop and spend hours trying to free their comrade. Number 2. The Pineapple Grenade. This wasn't a fruit. It was a grenade suspended from a tree branch, often hidden in thick foliage at face height. The safety pin was partially removed, and a thin wire was tied to a nearby bush. A simple brush against the leaves would pull the pin, turning the pineapple into a lethal explosion. It's a spicy fruit that nobody wants in their salad. One bite or one bump, and it's a very loud goodbye. It turned the very act of moving through the jungle into a deadly gamble. Every leaf and every branch was a potential trigger for disaster. Number 1. The Mudball Mine metal detectors were the U.S. Army's best friend, so the Viet Cong invented a way to be invisible. They created the Mudball Mine, a homemade bomb with 0 metal parts. They used hollowed-out coconuts or glass jars filled with gunpowder and rocks, then coated the entire thing in thick, sun-dried mud. It looked exactly like a harmless rock or a dirt clod, making it impossible to spot. It's basically a spicy coconut that doesn't give you milk. It just gives you a very bad day. 100% organic, 100% lethal. It was the ultimate low-tech solution to high-tech surveillance. It forced soldiers to manually poke every suspicious rock with a stick, slowing them down to a crawl.